like 6 months or something like that. Y'all, your girl has been busy. I have been so busy. Like, I am still in Paris. I went home for this summer and I was basically working the whole time. But yeah, I'm here and I want to talk a little bit about like my apartment search. I'm almost done with my program. I just finished midterms and I have 2 more months of my coursework and I am pretty much finished. Next semester will be my internship where I am job searching and a lot of questions of whether I'm staying in Paris. And I know that I've been like, I'm staying. But now the way the salaries are looking, I may be going back to the States, which I'm super excited. Whatever opportunity, whichever way that God like pushes me towards, I'll be happy with as long as it's where I'm supposed to be. I am happy with that, and I've just really enjoyed my time here in Paris, and it's really just been a lot of life learning lessons. All right, so let's get into this apartment. Y'all, Paris was trying to leave me for dead. Like, they was trying to leave me for dead. All right, so finding an apartment in Paris, literally, when they tell you it is a lot of work, like I literally was trying to pull all of my wigs off. Like, I was trying to pull every single one. It was so stressful. So when I first came to Paris, I had found my apartment with Paris Attitude, which is an agency for expats. If you wanted to look for an apartment, like they're pretty legit. And I like love my studio. That's where I was filming in at first. And then when the summer hit, obviously like I didn't want to pay rent here. So I ended up moving out. And that meant I had to find somewhere else to live. And I wanted to live somewhere that was closer to my school. So my commute would just be a little bit better. So I found this apartment, right? I found it on Lodges, which is another agency, a lot cheaper than Paris Attitude. Like they hit you as an expat, like they hit you up with those agency fees. Like try and get another like agency that won't cost as much. So Lodges is good, PAP is good, La Forêt is another one that I really that can help you find an apartment if you are not from Paris or if you're just an expat in general, because it's definitely difficult to rent an apartment if you're not from Paris. So I found my apartment on Lodges and I found it around July, something like that. So I put my deposit down. I paid I didn't pay first month's rent. I did pay first month's rent and I put it was a small deposit fee and I actually didn't even have any agency fees, which was bomb. And so when I saw the pictures, first of all, I was kind of like, I really wanted a 1-bedroom so I didn't have to live in the studio. But the apartment itself, it just wasn't as updated as my last apartment. So I was like, okay, you know what? Like, let me just sacrifice a little bit of space. The kitchen was so much smaller. I was like, I'm not really, I cook, but I'll be fine. Whatever. It's closer to the school. I'll be fine. So what I didn't see before I moved in, actually after I signed my lease, I tweaked hard. So I didn't see the bathroom. So I saw the bathroom, but I didn't see the bathroom. So Paris has they have some apartments where the actual toilet, the toilets is not connected to the shower. And at first, when I signed my lease, I was like, oh my God. I was like, is my toilet in the hallway? Because sometimes they legit will put the toilets in the hallway and do like an apartment sharing thing. And I'm like, so I asked my landlord, like, can you send pictures of the apartment? I asked the agency, like, can you send me pictures of the apartment? Like, I don't see the apartment in the pictures. I already signed the lease. Like I tweaked. So of course they didn't put pictures of the bathroom because the bathroom looked like Boo Boo the Fool. Like they didn't renovate it. It needed a lot of work. Like there was cobwebs, like there was like mold looking stuff. And I'm thinking like, I'm about to move into this apartment because at this point, it's literally like 2 weeks before I move in, before the landlord had sent me pictures of the apartment because there was still somebody in there. So this is like mid-August. I'm moving in September 1st. I'm like, you know what, Lord, like I'm gonna be okay. I got through China. I can make it. I got there and it was you know what? I can't even say it was the projects because I never lived in the projects. But it was not my suburban living that I am used to in Oak Park, Illinois. Not even Forest Park, Illinois. Not even the West Side when my parents decided to live on the West Side for 1 year. It was raggedy. So I was thinking like, you know what, like, okay, I'll be here for 6 months. Like, let me just count my blessings. Like, it's still Paris, whatever. Like, I'll be fine. Then, not even a full week in, I'm walking into my apartment and I see like one of my neighbors, I guess. It's a man. And you know, like as a woman, like you see when like a guy is like just staring at you, like, and he's about to talk to you. It was that type of situation. And it was not like the neighbor from Emily in Paris. This was like, it was given 45-year-old. He looked kind of Arab. And I was like, okay, here we go. So he's like looking at me and he's like, oh, jolie, c'est jolie. Oh my chérie. Beautiful, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, thank you, merci, beaucoup. I'm like walking. So, mind you, a place to the apartment I was living in, it was on the first floor and it also had an elevator upgrade because y'all remember I was walking to the 4th floor. So this was an upgrade. So while I'm like walking to the steps, like he's like walking like with me. I'm thinking like he's going to give his compliment and move along. He's like walking right next to me. I'm like, oh, merci. He's like, oh, tu Marie. And I'm like, no. And then I'm realizing like he's asking me if I'm married. Because he probably is trying to like move into the situation. I'm like, no, but ben, je suis compagnie. See, I know my French has not gotten any better. So I'm over here telling this man I got a pet when I'm trying to tell him I got a boyfriend to try and scare him away. So then he's like, huh? Comment repite? And I'm like, oh, boyfriend, like I have a boyfriend, like go, like relax. Which I didn't even have a boyfriend. But I'm thinking this will like make him move around. So we get to the 1st floor. I'm walking and I pause because I didn't want him to see like where my apartment was at because he was giving really like creeper vibes. So I like pause and he like stops with me. So then I'm like, okay. And the man literally moves in front of me and like moves his face towards mine. He didn't have a mask on. He moved his face towards mine as if he was trying to kiss me. Backed up. He literally moved his face towards mine like he was trying to kiss me. So at this point, I say, you know what? Like, and as a woman, like it sucks because like your first instinct is to be like, punch him dead in his throat. Like, go crazy. But like honestly, like I was terrified. Like I didn't really know what to do. I like moved, I like shoved him out of the way and was like, excusez-moi or whatever. And like I started like walking like quickly to my apartment. And then I didn't want him to see what apartment I was in because the man is literally just standing there just watching and smiling and like staring, gazing at me. And so I walked to like my neighbor's apartment and the hallway to my old apartment, like it's very narrow. So literally, if he would have came, like the only way, like if he would have came towards me, the only way I would have been able to go back outside, go back down the stairs was to get past him. So I went to my neighbor's apartment and like stood there, act like I was getting out my key and was like shooing this man up the stairs. And he literally stood there for like a good like 10 seconds, 10, 15 seconds, just like staring. I'm like, move until he finally like left. So I go in my apartment and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I've never had a situation where it was like, where like somebody tried to sexually harass me. Like I've never been in this type of situation. So I didn't really even know how to feel. Like at first, like when I went back in my apartment, like, okay, you're fine. Like, like I wasn't really tripping about it. But then you know what it was? Like I felt that I knew that I was uncomfortable because every like time I left and came back into my apartment after that, I was literally running out of the apartment. Like I was literally looking around to see if I would ever see him. And so the next week, like I told my landlord he had to come and fix something, like my TV wasn't working. And so I told him like what had happened, and it was a situation, and it just really made me feel uncomfortable. And he was just like, oh, like I'm so sorry, like in France, like that is not okay. And you know, was really like sympathetic towards it or whatever. And so I just left it at that. But then like that night, like I had a really like crazy dream. Like it was a very demonic dream. And like if you know me, you know like I dream a lot. And it just really like I just felt like I couldn't stay there anymore. And I felt like God was saying like, you know, like this is a way out. Like if you want to get out, like you don't feel comfortable here. Like I really didn't feel comfortable. Like I didn't feel comfortable using the bathroom. And I feel like my house, like I'm a socialite, definitely not a socialite because I don't want to put myself in that type of life. I'm a social person. Like I like being outside. I like going out. I like being with my friends. But I really enjoy like my home. Like I love like being at home and being comfortable at home when I'm not like being Ayana on Instagram. I'm like Faith in my space. Like when I'm doing homework, when I'm studying, like I love being in my space. And I felt like I wasn't comfortable in my space and I hated that. Like I was literally staying at my school. Like I was just in the library like all day. And you know, like during quarantine, I hadn't gotten so used to being at home. Like, and I really enjoyed my studio that I was at. And so for me to not want to go home, like that was like alarming to me. And I felt like, okay, it's like I have to move. I have to move. So I sent my landlord a message, a text message. So he doesn't speak French or whatever. I mean, he speaks French. I don't speak French. He doesn't speak English very well at all. And so a lot of like when we be talking, it'll be through translating. And I wrote him a text message saying that I wanted to move. So in France, if you move into an apartment, you have to give your landlord 30 days and you can get out of your lease. You have to like physically write something to them and you can get out of your lease. So I wrote him a text message because that's actually how I got out of my lease in my studio last time. And he doesn't reply back. And so I'm like, okay. So I send an email to the agency, like I'm moving out on this date, like 30 days after, whatever. So they're like, oh, did you get in contact with your landlord? And so I said, I texted him, he didn't respond. So they're like, okay, well, you have to send him an email. I sent him an email. He doesn't respond. Nothing. Literally 2 weeks go by. I'm sending my agency another letter, like he hasn't responded. This is the day I'm moving out. I CC'd him on there so he would be on there so they understood. They're like, no, you have to send him a letter. So now we done delayed the extra 2 weeks as to me like going back or like, sorry, not going back, but moving out of this apartment. I'm already uncomfortable. Like I don't feel safe here. Like it's a lot going on. Like I was so stressed. I was still like in school. I'm taking like 7 classes. So I'm studying, like, well, at least trying to, and I'm just stressed out about like not living somewhere that I'm like comfortable with. So after like I had sent the letter, I mailed the letter, I sent it back to the agency, like I postmarked the letter, like this is when it was sent, like I'm moving out in the next 30 days, like whether he responds or not. Y'all, if I would have known finding another apartment was going to be this difficult. It wasn't even finding the apartment.